So far at the PCA Festival of Poker, we've crowned Germany the new champions of the World Cup. Witnessed Elke's extraordinary victory in the high roller event. And now it's the big one.
Got me 20K called even.
No need to show off for the cameras.
The best of the best were here, and now, after 20 levels and 1,323 exits, only the very resilient remain in the race for the 2009 PokerStars Caribbean Adventure title. The remaining 24 players in the biggest poker tournament ever held outside of Las Vegas are just sitting down at these tables. They're all in the money, but one of them will take home a life-changing top prize of $3 million. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the PCA main event. 1,347 players entered, creating a monster prize pool of $12.6 million shared out between the top 199 finishers. First prize is $3 million. That's what our last 24 have their eye on.
Yeah, very happy to be in the day 4 of the PCA here. I hope I can get the final table. We have 2 Brazilians still in, and maybe I could make it. Maybe my friend could make it.
Still a long way to go for amigos Alex and Felipe. Germany's Benny Spindler has been playing aggressively, and it's paid off. He's second in chips right now.
Actually, live, it's my biggest result. To reach a final table in such a big event would be great.
But this is the man who's been leading the pack all day.
Well, my stack's good. I got like just under 3 million. I'm just going to try and make good decisions each hand that I play and hopefully run good.
They're all hoping that luck's on their side. Time to get over to the featured table. And your commentators, Ali Nejad and Daniel Negreanu.
Thanks, Kara. Let's get straight to it. $10,000 and $20,000 blinds with a $2,000 ante. Getting a look at our featured table.
It's quite an international featured table at that.
Some tongue twisters out there.
Italians, we've got Brazilians, we've got players from America and Kevin Saul.
We've got Ciro Zuccarello with Ace-8 suited, 32-year-old, native of Madison, Wisconsin, professional poker player. He used to be a film student slash slacker. I like that.
Well, then he's probably picked the right profession if he's getting into poker. He's making it $60,000 here with the Ace-8 of diamonds.
Joe's going to pass over to Alex now.
$60,000 to go, exactly 3 times the big blind.
Well, and look at this.
The other red Ace-8.
Ace-8 of hearts here for Benny Spindler.
Benny, 23-year-old German who's currently a student studying psychology.
So
I've had the pleasure of playing with Benny Spindler a little bit and having a chance to watch him in action, and very impressed with how deliberate he is and the decisions that he makes. Very sharp for such a young man.
And Benny is second in chips here. The chip leader, Kevin Saul, who looks at Queen-Jack.
Well, this is kind of a difficult hand to play against a raise, and Kevin Saul is going to make the right play in my book. Queen-Jack offsuit, King-Jack offsuit, we call those rookie hands. A lot of amateur players will call raise with these hands, but then when you flop your top pair, what are you going to do? What if your opponent has you beat? You just go broke a lot of the time, and it's very dangerous. You'd rather have a hand like 6-7 suited.
Andy, how much do you have? I can't see any of your chips.
Now this one I don't understand here. We've got the 9 deuce here from Andy Fitzpatrick in the big blind defending. That's a stretch. I don't care how big the raise was.
Well, he flops a 9 and a deuce, 2 pair.
Never mind what I said, because apparently Fitzpatrick knows a thing or two I don't.
Clairvoyance is always a nice feather in the cap, isn't it?
Well, you're going to see here, Zuccarello's going to make a continuation bet, trying to pick up this pot. You know, it's hard to put your opponent on the old 9 deuce.
Looks like a pretty dry board for the most part, right, David?
You know, it's a decent play here from Zuccarello, but Fitzpatrick now has got to decide on 2 things. Should he spring the trap now and make the raise and hope his opponent has an overpair, or slow play it and try to... Well, he's going to raise it. I actually prefer this play with a board like deuce 5-9 with 2 spades. Hope that your opponent here has 10s, jacks. Hope he calls you all in. But I don't think you're going to get a call here from Zuccarello, who's just got Ace-8. But he's looking like, what?
Yeah, he seems a touch confused.
What do you got over there? How many chips do you got over there? Seems a little more interest than I would be, frankly, with an Ace-8 in this situation.
Mullen.
What? Wait a minute. Now that is not something I was expecting. A quick call. Now this is a misstep here from Zuccarello.
For top and bottom.
He's a little stunned now seeing Fitzpatrick flop 2 pair, and he's almost dead here. Just an 8% chance to improve to the best hand after this flop. So the loosey-goosey call before the flop by Fitzpatrick pays off so far.
8 on the turn gives Zuccarello a pair. He can hit an 8 or an ace to win this pot. No spade for either player.
One more card to fade.
And the river's a 9. Full house for Andy Fitzpatrick. A bit of overkill as he takes down a very healthy pot.
Pot over $1 million in chips there, and you can see Zuccarello going, I guess I didn't have to do that. Fitzpatrick saying, see, 9 deuce, any two can win. What? Send me those chips.
So 24 players remain, seated at 3 tables. Table 1 is all American apart from the last remaining Mexican player, Christian, in seat 1. Kathy Liebert is short-stacked right now, and also at this table is last year's PCA runner-up Hafiz Khan. Dan Heimiller tops this table's chip count. Dominating table 2 are Canada's Benny Chen and likable chatterbox Dustin Dirksen. They're both sitting with 1.8 million in chips, while Ramos, Collado, and Manulin are pretty short. At our feature table, it's a battle of the big stacks as Saul and Spindler both have well over 2 million. Zuccarello, on the other hand, is very short, and as we rejoin the action, he's in the big blind with a decision to make.
Pocket 9s for Kevin Saul. Ace-Jack for Andy Fitzpatrick. And Zuccarello is going to stick it all out there with the 3rd best hand in this threesome, King 4 off.
Well, you know, you got to wonder after the last hand where he lost the 9 deuce. And here we go, Kevin Saul now moving all in with his pocket 9s, trying to get Fitzpatrick out of the hand. You got to wonder, though, like I said, Zuccarello here, King 4, right on the heels of that hand where he just lost the 9 deuce. You know, it feels like a little bit of a meltdown, if you will. So the decision back on Fitzpatrick with ace-jack. We saw him play the 9 deuce, but in this situation with an ace-jack, I don't know. How can you call here? The chip leader, Kevin Saul, putting it all in.
Fitzpatrick with a little over $1 million to start this hand.
This would be really gambling to call with ace-jack, and he's not going to do it. So it's heads up. Now Zuccarello with his own piece of cheese, if you will. He lost to the 9 deuce piece of cheese. Now he's got one of his own up against Kevin Saul's pocket 9s.
Here's the flop. 6, King 9. Wow.
Wow.
Before he had a chance to rejoice about spiking a pair of kings, Kevin Saul hits a set of 9s.
Yeah, I rock. Check me out. Chip leader and a little extra gravy in this spot. Things really going Kevin Saul's way so far.
And the turn is a king.
That's a card that gives Zuccarello a little bit of hope. He can now win this spot if he catches another king, a 6, or the 4.
Saul's full house hasn't locked things up just yet.
One card remaining here for Zuccarello. Nope, not meant to be for Zuccarello. He goes down in flames.
Well, no doubt a disappointing end to Zuccarello's run. He's going to say his goodbyes. He'll be collecting $45,000 for that 24th place effort. And Kevin Saul's stack up over $3 million now.
I'll tell you what, Kevin Saul is going to be tough to beat from here on out.
Welcome back to Paradise Island in the Bahamas. Now, these two card sharks may have swum out of the main event early, but that hasn't stopped them getting competitive outside at our water slide challenge. It's Moneymaker versus Brenes. Who's gonna take it down?
Get set, go!
Chris is the clear winner there, but I think he was robbed.
Back at the feature table, blinds are still steady at 10 and 20,000 with a $2,000 ante.
You know, this stage of the tournament, nearing the final table, is what really separates the men from the boys, if you will. It really separates those that are going to go for it all or those that are just trying to inch up the prize ladder. Kevin Saul, at this point, seeming to be in control with a big chip stack, and I know the kind of player he is. He's going for the win. As you can see there, raising it up with the King 6 of hearts. He's going to use that stack to attack these blinds.
Waste no time getting after it. Looked like an ace-deuce there for American Adam Geyer.
This is not a very good hand. You know, the ace is a strong card, but the deuce is obviously the worst card in the deck. He doesn't have, you know, a suited hand here. The only reason he'd want to play this maybe is he thinks Kevin Saul's playing too many pots and wants to bluff him. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Call this play coming over the top, making it 155,000.
Now, this isn't necessarily a play, like you were saying, that Geyer would make against any opponent, but he understands the situation.
Well, a lot of the time that's what happens. It's a little bit of a head game. He says, you know what, Kevin Saul's going to try to run over the table. Not on my watch. I'm going to step up and defend my territory. I've got position on you. See if you can call this bet.
But that's risky business, isn't it? Because Saul could definitely come back over the top.
You're talking about a guy who's got a lot of chips. Now, 2 7s here for Spindler. Looking for a chip count. Now, this is a very difficult situation with 7s. Facing a raise from the chip leader.
880. And then a re-raise from the man right behind an early position, and now you're third into the pot.
You know, we can see right here that the 7s are way in front, but without the luxury of seeing that, we don't know if one of the players has 10s, jacks, kings, so.
And he has no clue what Kevin Saul's going to do behind him, and Saul's got both of them covered.
Play here is to fold, and Spindler, as I expected, threw it away, as does Kevin Saul rather quickly, so the aggressive re-raise there from Geyer works like a charm.
Kevin Saul is still in first place. He's almost up at $3 million now, but Benny Spindler is not too far behind him. Some strong play from Adam Geyer has seen him creep up into 8th position. Americans still dominate the top spots. As we rejoin the table, the action is on Benny Spindler.
Blinds have gone up to 12 and 24,000. Annie's still steady at 2K. Benny Spindler
looking to call a raise of 60,000 from Gomez, who has a suited connector, 4-5 of hearts. And Spindler's going to re-raise here with a small pair. Getting aggressive, making it 160,000.
Now, if you're going to bother to play that hand with so many players left behind you, do you like the re-raise as opposed to the flat call?
No, I'm not a fan of this play. Frankly, if I had the 3s, I'd look to call here and maybe try to flop a set. But with so many players behind you, you can just get yourself into a lot of trouble. But Spindler's a young, aggressive player. He's going to take it to Gomez and hope that he can get Gomez off of his hand. It shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, Gomez has 5 high. But he does have a hand that could hit a lot of flops and potentially be a tricky one.
Well, it's 100,000 to call, 270 in the pot.
It certainly is plausible that Gomez can make this call, trying to hit a big pot, because both players are relatively deep, meaning that they both have a lot of chips in play. They could both play a big pot. And a hand like 4-5 suited, generally what happens with these kind of hands is you win really big pots and you lose small ones.
Alex is going to re-raise.
And
wow.
Look at this. Wow. Gutsy play from the Brazilian. He's going to re-raise now.
That wasn't one that I expected. He's obviously putting Spindler on a bluff move, on a bluff re-raise. So he says, you know what? Eat some of this. I'm going to raise you right back. Take that. And with 2 3s, you got to think you're either up against aces, kings, queens, or ace-king. So if you think that's what you're up against, there's one move and one move only. Those cards hit the muck.
Let's see what Benny Spindler settles on.
You know,
here.
these guys might just fool me right here, and he stick it all in, and he calls, and who knows?
Everything's pretty against the Negreanu book so far in this hand.
Well, he's going to lay down the 3s, so right there, that's a hand where I probably would have just called the 3s. Gomez makes a really, you know, adept read there, picking up on the weak re-raise and says, not on my watch. So.
And let's not take anything away from Gomez. Not only did he pull the play off, but he showed it.
No need to show off for the cameras.
Yeah.
Well, that's always good for your image.
With 22 players remaining, there's still a long way to go, but who are our main contenders for the title right now? For former lawyer Alex Gomez, taking down the PCA is his biggest ambition.
I'm glad I'm still in, and I hope I can make the final table, maybe the title.
And after winning a WSOP bracelet in the summer, he's really on form. He's supported here by friend and fellow team pro Andre Akari. 28-year-old Kevin Saul is no stranger to the pro circuit, with total live tournament winnings in excess of $1.7 million and a WPT title to boot. He's cool as a cucumber, no surprise he's huge chip leader right now, but he knows who his biggest threat is.
Probably the toughest player at the table is on my immediate left, but he's got like 1.3 million, and that's Adam Geyer.
So what of Adam Geyer then? He's 24, from Texas, and was a student before turning pro.
Yeah, I've never won a live tournament yet. I've come close bunch of times, and definitely be the highlight of my career, and you know, just a huge amount of money is what, you know, is really important.
Away from poker, his ambition is to coach a middle school basketball team. Can he take down the title here at the PCA?
There you get a look at the feature table. Blinds are steady at 12 and 24,000, ante-steady at 2,000. Already 50,000 up for grabs in any pot.
Alex under the gun.
You're looking at 7 deuce of clubs. Pretty much considered the worst hand of poker when it's not suited. When it's suited, some guys play it.
When Alexander Gomez has got it, who knows, right?
He's going to pass over to Kevin
He
now.
did play aggressively.
Ace Queen for the chip leader.
Played with Gomez, and he did play aggressively when I played against him. So
Kevin's going to raise to 70,000.
capable of a lot of moves.
More than one Ace Queen out there. Adam Geyer's got one as well.
Geyer does like to re-raise before the
Adam's
flop when he
gonna
gets a
re-raise.
hand, and that's exactly what he's doing here. It's a big one. 210,000 is now the bet.
210,000. He's going to get the
Now he's
button
done
over to
this
the
against
small
Kevin
blind.
Saul once already. Is that going to factor into Kevin's mind?
Absolutely. When a player starts re-raising you a lot, you start to wonder, hey man, how can you get aces and kings all the time? So,
Or do you have a big hand every time?
Yeah.
Come on.
Kevin's got to wonder now if his ace king, if his ace queen is in
140,000
front.
chip raise back to Kevin.
And he knows that Adam thinks he's trying to run over the table as the chip leader. So
That this is the tough part about playing an aggressive style. When you are playing a lot of pots and you get something pretty good like an ace queen, when someone re-raise you, you got to wonder, well, maybe they're just re-raising me because they know I'm raising a lot.
updating the outer table action, Brazilian Felipe Ramos just finished in 22nd place.
Action's now on Kevin Saul. Both players here with the same hand. I always find these hands
Kevin
interesting. And
announces
look at this.
all
Kevin
in.
Saul's moving all in, so he's taking the initiative, and he's what you'd call free rolling now because his chips are already in the middle. He could win this pot if Geyer lays it down.
And you see a dejected look on the face of Adam Geyer. That is not the decision he wanted to be left with.
200,000 already in the middle. He's going to look at that and say, well, you know, I wish I could have that back, and the only way to get that back is to actually call. But at the same time you call, you could be out the door. So he's going to think about this one for just a second. Have a drink of water. Lubricate the brain a little bit. Kevin Saul, not giving him anything. He's not even looking at him. He's looking way the other way.
I call.
Geyer got to go through this. He's
He
calling.
called.
Wow. Doesn't love it, but you're going to see a split
Ace-queen
pot
against
more often
ace-queen.
than not in the situation you see there, 50-50.
Why is everybody sitting back down? All right,
But
Adam is the at-risk
both players
player.
are somewhat
Kevin has
relieved.
covered
When
the
he
ace
heard
of
call,
hearts,
I
the queen
guarantee
of
Kevin
diamonds.
Saul was like, huh?
Adam has a queen
Uh-oh.
of clubs
Oh, you got
and the
two
ace
free
of
rolls.
diamonds.
I did.
That's no good.
Just throw me 20K and call it even.
What's that?
Throw me 20K, call it even.
All right, ace queen against ace queen. Let's see
So
the flop,
both
please.
players a little frisky here, playing such a huge pot. You can see there almost 2.4 million in this pot.
Flop comes all
Oh,
diamonds.
boy!
3 diamonds.
6, 3, 10,
So
6
now
of diamonds,
Geyer
3 of diamonds,
free
10
rolling
diamonds.
one more diamond,
They
and he's
both
going
have
to
a
win this
diamond, but
pot.
Adam has the ace
A
of diamonds.
serious blow to Saul. You can see he's like,
Let's see the
no,
turn card, please.
no. Can we just split it, please?
Turn is the 3 of clubs.
He's going to want to see a black card. So far, so good. Geyer thinking diamond, diamond, diamond.
It's going to be a split pot unless
Can
the
Adam
diamond comes
Geyer
on the
double
river.
through the chip leader with a diamond on
Let's
the
see
river?
card. It's the 5 of spades.
Nope.
Nope.
Phew, you can breathe now, Kevin Saul. Yeah, exactly my
Yeah, I pulled
thoughts
back
there.
all mine.
Oh,
He pulled his back.
I run better than that.
How do you know?
I run better than
that's just the worst way to go out. You have the same hand as a guy, and he hits a diamond on you. Ugh, just nothing more painful than that.
At our outer table, it looks like last year's runner-up Hafiz Khan got caught bluffing the end with 5 high. Anthony Gregg calls him with 2 kings, and that's the end of the run for Khan.
I've got our 21st place finisher here. It's Hafiz Khan. You were second last year in this event. It's a massive field, so getting down this far twice, that must feel amazing.
Yeah, you know, it does. Kind of bittersweet, though.
Yeah.
I got on the last hand that I went out on, I was bluffing for my whole stack, and he made like a really tough call, and which I give him credit for. So, but it is pretty amazing to get so far to such a big tournament, you know. So, and obviously I'm disappointed. I had a chance to like maybe get to the final table again, you know, but.
Yeah.
That's poker and it happens, so hopefully just try to win the next one, you know.
I'm going to send you guys back to the feature table.
Thanks, Kara. Action folded around to the German, Spindler. He's got queen 8.
Suited. You A lot of players don't think the fact that you're suited adds value, but it absolutely does. You flop a flush draw, you might be able to win it with a semi-bluff, and here you're seeing Spindler get aggressive, in position.
Ace-4, suited.
Well, Kevin Saul has a big stack of chips. Against the button raise, he's going to defend with ace-4 clubs. Sometimes might even re-raise in that spot.
Well, Saul's a guy who'll mix it up, though, right? He doesn't have just one gear in the transmission,
He's obviously, to be as successful as he's been on the tournament circuit, he's obviously got game. Another suited hand going in the muck this time. Jack-6 of diamonds in the big blind. Guy lays it down.
Oh, look at this. Trip queens for Benny Spindler. Not much happening for Kevin Saul, though.
Well, that's the thing. You got 3 queens, but unfortunately, your opponent has absolutely nothing but ace-high.
Yeah, there are 2 pieces to the puzzle to win a big pot, right? You've got to have the best hand, and your opponent's got to have enough to call.
Absolutely, and here we have a situation where it looks like Benny Spindler's going to want to bet it. He figures, you know what, I bet if I didn't have a queen, so I should bet when I actually do have a queen. I don't want to be that predictable. Kevin Saul might not believe this bet either. He might think his ace-high is still the best hand. Spindler could have something as innocent as king 10 here.
Oh, look at this, Daniel. Looks like you're onto something, and Kevin Saul reaches deep.
Okay. Well, what's happening now is Kevin Saul is trying to represent exactly what Spindler already has, and that's difficult to do.
Oops.
Trying to bluff a guy who's got it here. If this play's not a bad play by Kevin Saul, because if Spindler didn't have a queen, let's say he just had an ace and a 9, a very good percentage of the time he's just going to fold it. Saying, okay, maybe you got a queen, but as you can see, Spindler, he's not going to be folding with 3 queens here. Question is he going to re-raise or call? Looks like a call. I like that play better. If Kevin Saul wants to bluff the turn, be my guest.
Now, but he's got to be done with his hand at this point, right, Daniel?
Well, there's still a flush draw present, so Kevin Saul might put Spindler on a draw and think that maybe he can plow through it.
Oh, quad queens now for Benny Spindler.
Well, now Kevin Saul is going to give up on it and check. Question is Spindler going to go ahead and bet these quads, or is he going to let a card come off?
Well, he cannot lose the pot no matter what hits the river.
Ooh, very tricky. So he's made 4 of a kind, and now he's not even betting. He's hoping that Kevin Saul will hang himself with a bet on the river.
Now the 3rd diamond hits the river. But of course, with trips out there, a flush not nearly as strong if somebody were to be on that type of draw.
If you had ace-king of diamonds, you'd lose to a guy with 3-4 in this spot, so can't get too excited about a flush if you had one. Looks like Kevin Saul, he's really going to try to represent 4 of a kind, and that's what he's going to do here. It's so sad in a sense because he's repping the hand that Spindler has played so wonderfully so far by just checking the turn and letting Kevin Saul walk into this trap.
Somebody hand Benny Spindler a bib. He's got to be drooling here.
Well, quickly Benny Spindler moves all in. I don't know if I would have done it that quickly, but the jig is pretty much up here. Kevin Saul cannot call in a big pot here going towards Benny Spindler. Kevin Saul's going to muck it.
Wow. Our chip leader taking a big blow to his stack. Nice pot over to the German. Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the PCA main event from the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas. Just a little over 20 players remain here. Blinds at 12 and 24,000 with a $2,000 ante. $3 million up for grabs. Pressure's got to be on at this point.
Absolutely. This is the point where, as I've mentioned before, it really separates the men from the boys. The players who've been here before have experience, are less likely to make big mistakes. Some of the younger guys, they might, crack under the pressure.
Easy to feel like a man with ace-king in your hand. Andy Fitzpatrick opens the pot in early position, making it 65,000. 6-7 of diamonds.
Well,
we've talked about those suited connectors, Daniel. You're a fan.
Benny Spindler now in great chip position. He can afford to be more liberal, see a lot more flops. A hand like 6-7 suited against an early position raise. It's the exact kind of hand you want, If your opponent has aces or kings, becomes 6-6 deuce, could win yourself a big pot, but he's going to get out of the way. Spindler doesn't want to play it.
And Spindler is the chip leader right now. Kevin Saul second in chips with king 10 of hearts.
Well, Saul's dominated. He's headed in the wrong way. He was up to about 3 million in chips and dumped off a few, so he's going to try and get back on the right foot. But in this hand, he's clearly dominated. He is suited, which helps, but if he knew his opponent had ace-king, he wouldn't want to play this hand.
Well, he doesn't have the luxury of the whole card cameras like he does, so he's made the call. 180,000 in the pot and 2 hearts on the flop.
This is what we call a cooler flop. You see Fitzpatrick there with top pair, but Kevin Saul, he's got a king-high flush draw and a gut shot straight draw. Don't be surprised if you see all the chips go in the middle with these 2 hands. I don't see any player getting away here. Kevin played the king-high flush draw to flop a flush draw. He's done that with a straight draw.
I'm all in.
Kevin announces raise.
And he's going to ship it all in here, putting the pressure on Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick has to worry a little bit. He says, well, does he have ace-jack, pocket fives? What's he doing over here? Why is he going all in?
Ace-jack.
See, he's worried about the ace-jack. A little bit, thinking, really? Can I fold this ace-king, though?
Call.
And he's going to call with ace-king. So we're going to have an all-in confrontation. Fitzpatrick is going to need to hold off a queen or a heart to stay alive. Saul is reeling here. If he misses this, he's going to go from 3 million down to like 1 million in chips.
Andy Fitzpatrick, a 3-2 favorite at this point. As you see the percentages.
Nothing the players can do now but just pray. All decisions have been made.
Almost 2 million in the pot. Here's the turn. A 10 of spades.
Well, that gives Saul an extra out in a sense. He can win with a 10, but now a queen. He'd only get half the pot. Really, what he wants is that heart.
Or a 10, and he's going to double through.
2 of spades.
They're calling for cards now.
Prefer the 2 of spades right now.
2 of spades is what Fitzpatrick wants.
The 3 of spades.
And the river is a 3 of spades.
I'm sure he'll take that.
Yeah.
A monster pot there. Kevin Saul just reeling right now.
Kara Scott has reeled in Gavin Griffin.
We all know that poker players know each other very well, and here's someone who knows Kevin Saul very well. It's Gavin Griffin. Talk to us about his play, his style of play, because obviously you must have seen quite a bit of it.
Yeah, well, Kevin I sort of inspired Kevin to play poker. We knew each other in playing pool, and he was sort of my mentor playing pool. And at the beginning of our careers, I was his mentor for poker. So, I try to catch up with him and make sure he's doing all right as much as possible. And obviously, he's having a great tournament here. So, and his style is pretty similar to mine. We're both really aggressive, play a lot of hands, like to play after the flop. Really get involved and hopefully win a lot of pots. The thing with Kevin and I is if we're not winning, if we're not winning a lot of pots, we're probably not doing all that well because we play a lot of pots.
Well, it seems to be working for him. But the real question is, who's better at pool?
Kevin now.
Oh, he's way better at pool than I am. He always has. Yeah, he's always been better at pool than me.
Let's get back to the table and take a look.
Kevin Saul has lost 2 big pots at this point, Daniel, and he's entering his 3rd, this time with king-queen offsuit. He's made it 65,000 to go.
Over to the blinds.
And
well, you know
Peter
what?
Thielen's got ace-8 suited. He's made the call.
If Kevin Saul, gets broke out of this thing, I'll give him a game of pool. I think I can handle this kid.
That's right.
Maybe Gavin Griffin can't, but I used to play a little stick.
A little hustler.
A little bit when I was a kid. Shot.
More than one way to build a bankroll, right? 7-8 offsuit for Alexander Gomez.
So we've got Kevin Saul really just kind of looking to get back on track right now.
But what's going through the other players at the table's minds? I mean, they've got to believe that maybe he's just tilted here, right?
Often that's what happens. So when you are a player that's just lost a couple pots, you have to be a little more careful and cautious because people generally expect you to be steaming and bluffing, so you get a little more action. Gomez is defending here, the 7-8. Can't blame him. Could hit a good flop with this. He's already got some money invested, having been in the blind.
Kevin and Peter are going to go
3 to the flop here.
221,000 in the pot. And here is the flop. Couple of 3s and a king. Good flop for Kevin Saul.
Well, with a flop like this, it looks like Kevin Saul will be able to turn it around, but he's checking. Looking to set a trap right now. Nobody bites.
Oh, and now it's kings and queens for Kevin Saul.
Well, now that also presents a backdoor flush and straight draw. So you would expect Kevin to try to protect his hand here. Unless Gomez decides to get frisky, which it looks like he's thinking about doing. He's thinking, well, if they all check the flop, maybe I can pretend that I have a little 3-ball corner pocket.
Or a king or a queen, for that matter. He thinks it's free money out there, and he's going to take his shot at it with a $130,000 bet.
For Kevin Saul here, despite the fact that he's got the top 2 pair, that doesn't beat one single 3. So while he likes his hand, I can't imagine he feels too safe with it, especially after, well, he's going to raise with it, but, you know, after the 2 blows that he's taken, you'd think he's a little on the, you know, timid side, but not Kevin Saul. He's going to raise right here, try to protect his 2 pair.
Not a big raise, though.
Yeah.
It's 280,000 total, a raise of 150. The min raise would have been 130.
Sure. Little does he know, as it turns out, the better play, because Gomez has absolutely nothing, would have been to just let him, you know, call and let him bluff on the river. But
as you said, though, a couple of backdoor draws showed up, the straight and the flush.
Kevin Saul looking to just pick this up right here and right now. Gomez, the only thing he can do here is re-raise or fold.
He's not going to pull another one of those hero moves out of his book. Content to muck it, and Kevin Saul is going to try to lick his wounds, and that will help him do it. Finally winning a pot. 1 for 3 ain't bad.
A little bit relieved, but still a lot of work to be done to get back to where he was.
Let's get to our outer tables here, where we find Jason Pastor with 2 7s in terrible shape against Minolin's pocket kings. The Russian looking good. 2 spades on the flop with a 5 and a 6. Board pairs on the turn. Pastor needs to hit a 7, and he does!
Incredible. What a way to go out with pocket kings there.
What a horrible beat for Albert Minolin. He's going to check out in 19th place. It's going to take a few days to shake that one off.
18 remain then, and Kevin Saul, who has led the pack for so long, is not even in the top 8 now. He's taken a couple of big hits, including doubling up Fitzpatrick, which has put him into a comfortable 4th position. It's neck and neck between the 2 Bennies at the top of the table, and as we rejoin the tournament, the action is on Spindler.
You see Benny Spindler wasting no time, coming in with a raise with ace-4 of hearts.
King Jack of spades for Adam Geyer.
Well, we don't see Kevin Saul. He's been moved to one of the outer tables to balance the tables. That's what happens when you get down to, say, 17, 18 players. You got to make sure that every table has an equal number of players.
Peter Thielen has made the call with ace-9 of diamonds. Peter, a native of the Netherlands.
Well, we've seen Fitzpatrick defend his blind with 9 deuce, so I would assume with a hand like 9-6, he'd be like, yay, get me in there.
Safe assumption. 7-4.
36,000 chip raise over to the big blind.
Well,
for Galuzzo. We haven't really heard anything from Galuzzo so far in this feature table action.
So we're going to have a multi-way pot here. We've got a wide range of hands here.
The flop will help bring things into focus with the pot of over $300,000. Here it is.
Wow.
Ace, King, Jack with 2 diamonds.
So we've got Geyer there with 2 pair, kings and jacks, but of course Thielen, he's got aces with a flush draw. And don't forget Benny Spindler, he's flopped aces as well with the ace-4. Very dangerous flop. Of course, the blinds with 7-4, 9-6, they'll be out of this pot. But we could see some fireworks here.
Absolutely, Daniel. Action now on Adam Geyer.
Well, he's got to decide here. He's got 2 pair, but it's a risky 2 pair. It's the bottom 2 pair.
And he's going to waste no time. He's betting $220,000, the 24-year-old native of Austin, Texas. Professional poker player for about 5 years now.
I'll tell you what he wants to have happen right now? He wants everybody out. Sure, he has 2 pair, but with so many players in the pot, Queen 10 could be out there. He does not want Thielen in there with the ace-9 of diamonds, because that's going to be a very close hand.
Yeah, but good luck getting Peter off his hand.
Well, Peter's going to play it carefully. He's just calling here with top pair and the nut flush draw.
You like that play, Daniel?
Well, it's very, in a multi-way pot, sometimes you want to tread carefully. And look at this, a good lay down here from Spindler. He knows with a bet and a call, he's got an ace, sure, top pair, but one of these guys got to have him beaten. He's right.
Dangerous board. Here's the turn. Jack's full now for Adam Geyer.
Well, now that's the kind of card that Geyer wanted to see, because now Thielen can only win this pot if he catches the ace. And we know already that Benny Spindler has folded an ace. So Geyer in great shape right now with the full house. He might even want to just check and let the diamond roll off and maybe win a big pot on the river. A lot of ways to play this hand right now. Really depends on what he thinks his opponent has here. His opponent didn't want to see one thing. He didn't want to see the board pair.
Now the flush draw is not a guaranteed winner. His kicker on the ace improves, of course, to aces and jacks with the king, but still a very dangerous looking board. And Adam Geyer is firing a bet.
Well, that's an interesting bet, notice, because it's actually smaller.
180,000.
The bet he made on the flop. He made a bigger bet on the flop, and now he's actually giving him a discount. So, you know, Thielen's got to wonder, what in the world? You really want me to call that badly? An amazing laydown. That's a very good fold there. A very good read of the situation. Sure, Geyer wins the pot, but I tell you what, Thielen, he won the battle there, making good fold.
Well, Adam Geyer doing his best to pick up that $3 million first place prize. And how about some ideas on how to spend it?
Till last year, I would have said probably my car, a very nice Audi Q7.
I bought a house in Orange County in California.
The Lexus RX. I don't even remember. I'm not a car guy.
Probably a house. I'm not really an extravagant guy. I've got a Porsche.
Well, I don't really buy a whole lot of things.
Multi-million-dollar house. Antique furniture.
Vodka.
I'm gonna buy a casino in Italy.
I just recently bought myself a Lamborghini.
It's a new laptop.
What the heck? The kids will get a kick out of it.
Well, big spender Peter Eastgate. He won himself the World Series Poker main event, but he's got a new laptop.
That's right.
Some socks, underwear, he's all set.
Not everybody is quite as extravagant as the prize pools might lead you to believe. Some pretty modest responses. Hatcham stepped out. He got himself a Lambo.
Got himself a Lamborghini. Barry Greenstein bought himself a multi-million-dollar home. It's a beautiful home.
Not just any home.
Multi-million-dollar home.
That's right. 7-9 suited for the pretty quiet Giuseppe Galuzzo. Giuseppe, native of Canada, 36 years of age, been playing poker for about 5 years, and when asked, described his game as passive.
Well, I like that. That's how I describe my game. Weak, passive, and easy to beat. Come try.
Textbook sandbagging from Daniel Negreanu.
Here we have Gomez with 9-5 suited. Looks like he's thinking about getting a little bit frisky.
Now, a player like Galuzzo, who's really entered very few pots, has not opened any that I've seen thus far in this feature table action. Aren't you going to give him a considerable amount of respect if you're Alexander Gomez?
Well, usually with a player like this, though, since he just limped in, a lot of times you want to pick on him. And I think that's what Gomez is trying to do. Gomez has some chips. He's going to say, you know what, Galuzzo, if you got a hand here, then you're going to play with me. Otherwise, give me that money. Don't limp into my pots. But I think with a hand like 9-7 suited, he's going to want to see a flop. So he's going to make the call. You have 2 to a flop. Both players have 9 high. You see Galuzzo with the best hand, but because Gomez has position, you think that he'll win the pot actually a higher percentage of the time. That's kind of how poker works. Position is power.
7 deuce 3 with a couple of clubs.
Well, this could be trouble for one of these two players. All in from Galuzzo and a flush draw for Gomez. He wants to get a count. He's going to find that it's not that much. It's 210,000. That's all Galuzzo has left. Gomez knows clearly now that, with no pair, he doesn't have the best hand. But with the flush draw, he elects to go for it. He's going to gamble. So Galuzzo in with the best hand, a pair of 7s. Gomez will need to catch a club to eliminate him. Call this an action flop. Galuzzo just thinking, how about, I don't know, 2 red kings? That'll work for me. There we go, it's over.
The ice card right there. Giuseppe Galuzzo now drawing dead.
Will be eliminated. He went out with the best hand. Played it a little carefully, but he got his money in good, so can't fault him there.
Giuseppe Galuzzo will collect $65,000 for his efforts, and the Brazilian are about ready to break into Carnival.
Welcome back to Paradise Island in the Bahamas, where the battle for a seat in the final and that $3 million top prize rages on.
Hi. Welcome.
For Hafa Khan, his quest for consecutive PCA final tables is over. Kevin Saul, on the other hand, is back in the chip lead, while at the feature table, it's a clash of the big stacks as Geyer, Gomez, Spindler, and Fitzpatrick all have around $2 million in chips.
Starting to get a clearer picture. Down to just a handful of hopefuls here from the Atlantis.
I got it. Gomez picking up a little pair of 4s. At this point, a pair is a pair. It doesn't really matter how big it is, but when you're short-handed, you want to raise with virtually any pair, and it looks like that's what Gomez is going to do here.
Of course, the blinds and the antes relentless. They're now up to 15 and 30,000 with a $3,000 ante. Can't sit back forever, can you?
No, we got Geyer here looking at a fun kind of hand. He's got 6-8 of spades. He's on the button, so he says, you know what? I want to see a flop. Why not? I can afford it. I got chips.
He's not going to play this one, so
Fitzpatrick finally found a hand he didn't like. He's played a lot of funky hands out of the blind so far at this featured table. We're going to have a heads-up pot, Gomez versus Geyer.
Here's the flop. 5, queen, 7.
Well, this gives Geyer an open-ended straight draw. Gomez, of course, still has the best hand with 4s, but he doesn't want to see a 4. If he hits that 4, this could be fireworks. 4 on the turn, and that would give Gomez 3 of a kind, but of course it would make Geyer straight. Now for Geyer here with the open-ended straight draw, he's got a couple ways to play this. Fold isn't one of them. He might decide to raise and take it now, or just call and try to catch it. Just going to call, see if he can spike that 4 or the 9.
Pot up to 430,000 now. Geyer can also make the best hand with a 6 or an 8. It's a 3 on the turn. And now Gomez has got a gut shot straight draw. 6 no longer good for Geyer.
Well, that's a card now that might keep Gomez in the pot. Because even if he's up against a queen, he feels like he can catch a 4 or 6. Well, it's going check, check.
Let's see what it is.
Geyer doesn't elect to take control of the pot. And there's the straight. He's made the nuts on the end here.
Well, now for Gomez, he's got to feel like, you know what, there's just not many hands I feel like I can beat when that 9 hits. Because bet the flop got called on a queen 7-5 board. If he doesn't have 6-8, he might have 8-9, might have a queen. Geyer, of course, praying, hoping that Gomez is slow playing 3 of a kind. Gonna want to make a value bet here with the absolute nuts. It's 262,000 now. Gomez has to figure, what in the world can I beat here? What's this guy doing here? How can he check the turn and now bet? Does he really have 6-8? Well, I would think this would be a... Well, I don't like that call. He's going to see the bad news, and I just can't figure out what Gomez was thinking there, making that call. There just wasn't many hands in deck that he could beat.
That's going to be the nuts for this hand. Alex is going to pass.
Curiosity got the best of Gomez there. Geyer stack up to over 2.2 million. 5-handed action at the feature table continuing. Andy Fitzpatrick with a couple of napkins.
Well, now with just 5 players at the table, everyone has to realize that these blinds and antes come around so much quicker. Everyone's got to play more pots. Hand like 7-4 diamonds now looks like a monster for Gomez, who's going to come in for a raise to 80,000. Action's going to be on Benny Spindler now. Well, he's got another fun hand, Jack-10 of clubs. It's a good hand to see a flop with.
Ace-Jack of hearts, however, for Adam Geyer.
Well, the question is, does Geyer want to do the what we call the squeeze play, the re-raise after a raise and a call, or does he just want to call and see a flop? I don't see him folding here.
Re-raising out of the blinds looks particularly strong, doesn't it?
Well, depending on the kind of guy you are, but certainly when you see a raise and a call, you figure if a guy raises after that, he should have a pretty good hand. In this case, Geyer actually does have the best hand. But he, of course, can't know that. You know, we have the luxury of seeing the whole cards. He doesn't.
Adam's going to re-raise.
Nonetheless, he is going to re-raise to 325,000.
300K straight. 325. He's going to re-raise to 325,000.
Peter Thielen gets away.
Gomez going to throw it away. Question is now, does Spindler want to play the Jack-10 of clubs here?
And it looks like the answer is yes, indeed. Pot swells to over $750,000 before the flop.
Well, Spindler is the man in position. It's likely why he called here.
8 ace deuce.
Well, this is a good flop for Geyer. He's flopped his ace. It's pretty much good enough to go with, I would think, at this point.
Wow, look at this. He's checking it, Daniel.
And it looks like Spindler's going to bite. He's, you know, he senses some weakness. He's wrong in this one particular case because Geyer's got him.
Now, what's Spindler thinking here when he bets?
Well, Spindler's hoping maybe that he's up against 10s, jacks, or maybe thinking that Geyer was just trying to steal the pot before the flop and missed.
Adam makes the call.
But Geyer's going to continue to slow play. The
That
ace on the
thought's
flop.
got to be out of Spindler's mind at this point now that Geyer's called.
Well, no,
right?
Geyer could still have kings or queens and just want to look him up. So Spindler may decide, you know, on the turn, hey, I'm going to fire another bullet.
All right, let's see the turn card, please.
Here is that turn card. Interesting one, the 5 of clubs.
Well, that's going to change things a little bit for Spindler because now he might elect to take the free card since he's picked up a flush draw. If he had no draw at all, he might say, I'll bluff again. But now he's going to quickly check and try to catch that club on the river. Not going to do it.
The deuce of hearts on the end.
Well, for Geyer, really no sense in betting right now. Probably his best option is to check and see if Spindler wants to take one more stab at stealing this pot. Obviously, we know that if he bets the river, Spindler's done with this hand. He's not gonna, he wouldn't pay a penny with Jack high.
Let's see what Adam Geyer finally decides on.
It looks like
Almost
he wants
a
to value bet.
$4 million pot.
Well, if I was his coach and in his ear right now, I'd say check, check. Check it to the German. He might bet. Still considering. I think the longer he takes, the more likely it should be that he checks. Well, he's going to make a big bet, it looks like.
Adam bets out 550,000.
550,000. Now, the problem with this bet is, I mean, Spindler's not going to call him unless he's got a very strong hand, which could be as strong as ace-queen or even ace-king, so it's a little hefty. I probably would have checked here. Now, Spindler clearly is not thinking about calling. He's either trying to save face, doing some Hollywood, as they say, or maybe he's considering, maybe I'll just raise him right here and take this pot from him.
That would present quite the dilemma for Adam Geyer if Spindler were to move all in here.
It's a tough position Geyer would be in if that were the case. But it takes a lot of guts to make a play like that on the river. See if Spindler's instincts are correct. He's trying to look over at him for some tells. He's taking a really long time with such an easy decision, so clearly he has to be considering
the hero play,
the big bluff. The question is, will it work? You know, Geyer does have the ace, but doesn't mean he has to call. Okay, so Spindler thinks better of it, says, you know what, I don't need to risk all my chips on this bluff, and Geyer's going to take down a nice pot. Spindler taking a shot at the flop with the bluff, but just totally gave up on the river.
Catching up with one of our outer tables, we see Kevin Saul with pocket sixes, flop to set, and river to full house, eliminating the American Jason Pastor, who finishes in 17th place, good for $65,000.
16 are left, and back at the top of the tree is Kevin Saul with nearly 2.9 million. Geyer and Chen are not far behind him, though. Down in the lower half of the table, the USA's David Baker is the tourney short stack, but Plotkin, Liebert, and Collado also have a lot of work to do. So 24 have become 16, and in not so long, that number will become the magic 8. This Caribbean adventure has been a journey and a half so far. Join us next time to find out who's really in with a chance of securing that $3 million treasure, while 8 more will be bobbing home early on a pedalo. See you then.